Ouran High School Host Club is one of my favorite animes of all time. And recently I have been rereading the manga and I've been spotting a few more differences. And I don't know how this happened, but the first video I did on this being big differences between the Ouran anime and manga, that is like one of my best performing videos. So I hope a few of you have tuned in on this sort of part 2, and these are differences that are maybe a couple of them a little bit significant, but they're kind of just alternate versions of these episodes we might have seen. For instance, one of our most favorite episodes is the beach one, where the host club is trying to figure out what is Haruhi's weakness. Like, this is one of those ones, you know, like minor difference maybe, but just alternate sequence of events. And that's that the host club stays at Nekozawa Senpai's place, not the Otori Villa. So we actually do get to see Nekozawa as like part of this episode, if you will, and he is at the mansion, and you know, they're just crashing at his place. So just, that's kind of one of those things that's just like, okay, little bit different, but overall it doesn't really change the fact that, you know, the thunder and so on and so forth. But I got 6 more differences for you, and if you are a big fan of Ouran or just like to talk about anime every now and then hello, subscribe to the channel. I post here every now and then, but I'm definitely an Ouran person. I'm wondering if I'm starting to be seen as the Ouran guy, even though I just post on the anniversary of the anime airing, which is this month. It's April. I mean, I'm a little bit late to the actual day, and September. If season 2 doesn't happen, I have a plan that I will reveal at the end of this, but let's get to difference number 2. I wanted to pull out like what actual chapter the thing is, but let's see if it's this one. I don't think it is, but Haruhi's shopping trip. Nope, it's not this one. In the anime, the host club goes to visit Haruhi's place for the first time and meet her dad, other than, you know, of course, Kyoya. Now, that pretty much goes down the same way as it does in the manga, but there is one pretty significant difference, sort of. Tamaki goes shopping with Haruhi. He definitely still screams and cries at Haruhi's dad and things that Haruhi's dad says to him, and one of those things makes Tamaki so, you know, like, "Wah!" that he runs out. And as he's running, he passes Haruhi, and she just kind of makes him tag along, you know, and he just like grabs her the back of her shirt like a freaking child, you know. So they actually go to the store together, whereas everybody else is following with Haruhi's dad. So there's kind of a shopping date. The church scene with Hikaru and Haruhi is a very infamous one to peeps that ship the double H, if you will. And Hikaru, you know, he kind of runs off childishly, and he leaves Haruhi on her own during this thunderstorm, and he finds her in what is a very serious scene. You hear the flashback of Karu just saying, you know, you have to start thinking of other people, and freaking Haruhi's crying and stuff. It's a very serious scene. But in the manga, the way it's still the same scene, but it's portrayed much more comedically. They have their chibi eyes and drawings happening, and it just kind of all like bing, bang, boom, instead of it being this really dramatic moment, so to speak. I think that is honestly the biggest difference in Ouran's anime overall compared to the manga, is that there's just this tone that the manga was much more, at least up to the point that the anime adapted, was much more goofy with its presentation, and the anime kind of serioused it up a bit. And there's one more example I have that kind of goes with that. But before that, 2 kind of quickie examples of, again, just kind of alternate scenarios. Nekozawa has an episode where, you know, you meet his little sister, and she is afraid of the dark, he's afraid of light, and they're trying to work that out so that they can be brother and sister. And in the anime, I explained in my previous video about this that Renge was way less involved in the host club's shenanigans. And in that vein, in this episode, we see Renge have a serious role, not serious, you know, but like the role of, I am going to coach Nekozawa and make him the princely man of her sister's dreams or whatever. That doesn't happen in the manga. In the manga, Tamaki is the one that's actually coaching Nekozawa. Because again, I thought I just spilt my cup of water. Because again, Renge is not the manager, so Tamaki is the one that steps up. That is a difference. Also, the twins' hair. The twins, Karu and Hikaru, In the anime, they have their kind of established hairstyle that is just throughout the whole series. But the manga, especially in the first few volumes, their hair kind of goes all over the place. Sometimes it's down, sometimes it's up. And that kind of goes with the fact that I don't remember if I mentioned this in the first video, but in the manga, we definitely get to see Hikaru and Kaoru's parents, especially their mom, though, and their mom is a fashion designer, and we get word of that in the anime, but we definitely see their mom earlier on in the manga. You know, maybe that's why their hairstyle changed so much, just because of the fashion statement of it. They eventually do get a stable hairstyle, but not like the anime. The anime, they are just stable the whole time. In fact, the last 2 episodes, that's kind of a glimpse as to one of the hairstyles that the twins wears. Okay, this one, I did note the volume. Volume 7, we get to see the Zuka Club again. There they are, my least favorite characters. The Zuka Club play goes about pretty much the same in both the manga and anime, except their ending is very different. And again, it kind of goes with that tone of the anime wants to actually more, like, to create a much more maybe compelling plot and drama, whereas the manga, they just want it to be more fun. But the differences are the start and end, where the start of it, Haruhi in the anime, she joins the play out of sympathy for the lead girl, Benibara? I think it's Benibara. Haruhi takes the role out of sympathy for the mom story, and it's like, of course she could relate to that, you know, wanting to make her mom proud because Haruhi doesn't have her mom anymore. And so, again, that's the anime's way of kind of adding a bit of drama to it. But in the manga, that is not how that goes. The manga, she just gets... It's the DVD. The manga, she just gets peer pressured into it. As she walks out and says no, everybody around, all the bystanders are just loudly, God, this gossiping. What a bitch. Oh, she's so stupid. How could she possibly not take that role? You're a freaking asshole, Haruhi. And the end of the Zuka Club play, it does still end with the kiss, you know, like, oh, I will steal your kiss or whatever. But they didn't kidnap Haruhi to do that. And that's another reason why the Zuka Club, the anime versions of them, I don't like as much as their manga version. Their manga version is still a little bit annoying, but the manga version, they kidnapped Haruhi to just use her somewhat as bait to draw the host club in, as using them as examples. They record the whole thing of them breaking into their school and use them as a bad example of a man. Like this, if we have to portray men, we can't be like these guys. Look at them. Look at they're breaking in and they're being in disguise. Like, how despicable. They didn't do it to freaking force themselves onto her like the anime. Like, that's a definite... I think the manga was way better on that front. The one that's really significant to me is Tamaki's staff. In the previous video, I talked about his dog being a much more key role to him, but that's because his dog is part of really the only family that Tamaki's got, where Tamaki's staff, it just feels like all of his big sisters and his big brothers and parents, like he is just kind of really loved by them. And you could really feel that in, it's not too early on, it's kind of both a little bit before and after where the anime wrapped up, but you definitely get a lot more screen time with Tamaki's staff in the manga, whereas the anime, we only see them briefly, one of them, but all the staff, man, Tamaki loves them all. They really are like family to him, and I wish we got more screen time with them in the anime, and that's something that we would potentially see in season 2. And honestly, if we don't get an Ouran season 2 or a reboot or something announced, I cross my fingers for season 2. I'm just gonna reveal to you what the big story beats are for the rest of the manga, because I did a poll and we are 50-50 on people reading the manga or not. And you know what? Fine, if you don't want to read it, let me just tell you about some big story beats that happen, not in great detail, but just kind of like a trailer, if you will. We're gonna do that if they don't announce something by September, which is like when the anime wrapped. But for now, if this, for some reason, you watched this video before the first Ouran differences video, check that one out, because those are much more significant differences and why Ouran should freaking come back, man.